Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Let's open today's video with an email. This email has encouraged me or motivated me to make a video today, and I think I should. And it's kind of important. I've been a long-time viewer of your channel, and I never thought I would find myself in the position I am now. Recently, I had to visit a food bank for the first time in my life, and I was shocked to see some of my coworkers there too. It's surreal to think that despite making over $101,000 a year, I'm struggling to make ends meet. I couldn't help but recall your video you made over 7 years ago titled, "Food is Costing More Than My Rent." So that's a video I made whiles back, okay? I need to leave Vancouver BC. That's when I was leaving the big city. This is when I was warning people, get out of the city now, all you regret it by 2020, right? Okay. And I thought it was a bit of an exaggeration, but now I realize how accurate it was. Food prices have skyrocketed to a point where they are genuinely out of reach to many of us. Your insights and discussion about economic realities have been incredibly eye-opening. I'm binge-watching and watching older stuff and trying to connect some of the dots that you mentioned across the Commonwealth and seeing the patterns. And I am grateful for your continued efforts to shed light on these critical issues. It's disheartening to see how many of us are being affected, but it's also comforting to know that there are communities like yours where we can share our experiences and support each other. Thank you for what you do. Best regards, Kim. So this was a very well-written email, and it goes into other little, very specific personal stuff of things I don't want to put out there because I don't know how many people will watch this. I don't get a lot of people watching my videos anyway, but still I want to kind of protect the people that are reaching out to me and trying to send a message, right? And you're welcome to call in when we jumpstart our call-in show, by the way. Mike and the Knight's going to come back in the fall for season 30, and we're going to go from there. Okay, anyways, so what is happening? Well, here it is, folks. This does not look good. Let's open this. So food bank usage rises across Canada. Food banks use in higher than it has ever been in Canada. So let's play the clip here real quick.
That 1/3 of the people who need food banks right across the country are children.
1/3 of the people that need food banks are children. Let's just rewind that here.
1/3 of the people who need food banks right across the country are children.
So children are starting to starve in Canada. I checked my channel, didn't find anything about children starving in Canada from the videos that we made over the years. Couldn't find children starving, but that's incredible that a first world country that was built by European expansion, right? The Europeans, the Portuguese, the Greeks, the Italians brought over the sanitation, brought over the bridges, brought over all the ingenuity and built. And now it's completely falling apart. Mind you, it didn't help that Canada closed immigration in 1993 to Europeans. So let's move on. We're going to go to the States too. We got all kinds to cover here. Food bank usage in Toronto doubles in just 1 year. And this is from early January of this year, but I do want to bring it up because I did get a message from someone that works in this specific area, in the specific part of the city. I don't want to get too specific here, but Toronto's Daily Bread Food Bank, in partnership with New York Harvest Food Bank, released its annual Who's Hungry report last year. Once again, it comprises an indefensible list of neglect, exploitation, and betrayed promises in Canada's largest city. So there it is, and it goes into specifically here. Toronto is now relying on food banks twice as many as in 2022, doubling the food bank usage in just a year is the highest annual increase ever reported. There have been 2.53 million visits to a food bank in Toronto in the past 12 months. That is huge, people. That is so phenomenally, overly huge. And this one here, I wanted to buy the pointer. This is kind of an important one. We can't be the solution. So, yeah, food banks can't be the solution to feed you, right, folks? This is, I mean, we're supposed to be in a stable economy. We're supposed to be living, we're by check. Now we're at a point where we were living check by check for the last 6-7 years, and now we're living in where can I get some sort of support because now I've exhausted everything I have to just pay my overhead, to pay my rent, my mortgage, or whatever that you got yourself into, that we warned you about over the last 10 years about all these liar mortgages and dangerous lower interest rates, that when they raise your interest rates, you won't be able to buy food. And we said that over 1,000 times on this channel, warning you guys. So let's go back here. And Mississauga CEO says, as a report reveals, disturbing extent of need across Canada. So it goes into these record-breaking numbers demonstrate that the lack of government action has exacerbated the problems that food banks have been sounding the alarm for about the last several years. Well, here's the problem with this. We don't want to federalize everything. You don't want to federalize everything around you, right? And high grocery costs challenge Washington families' food banks. Nearly 29,000 households in King County don't have enough income to cover household basics, according to the data from the University of Washington. Now, what is this? This is Amerifornia. We've been warning you about Amerifornia with the Biden selection. We told you the day after the selection that Amerifornia is coming, wagons east. And look what's happening. Food set to double in price or triple in price. And we made a video said housing was set to double in price with the new Amerifornia Biden selection. America needed to catch up to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK with crazy pricing. So the best thing to do is select Biden, put him in, destroy the country, catch up to Canada, catch up to Australia, and give it like a kind of a plateau. You know what I'm saying? So, so there it is. Pockets of poverty and food. So there it is. I mean, we're seeing what's happening here. And food insecurity is on the rise in Oregon after downward trend before the pandemic. And a quarter of a century ago, Oregon had one of the highest rates of food insecurity and hunger in the country. By 2019, the situation had greatly improved. 2019. And that's why they had to pull the trigger on the pandemic, because of civil unrest. 2019, why not March or April 2020? That would make more sense, right? We see where they're going with this, right? But they're telling you the truth here. 2019, the situation has greatly improved, and the rates in the state dipped below the U.S. average. Then the pandemic hit. Can't comment on that on here. And the Census Bureau shows that 11% of Oregon households are food insecure. So that's what I wanted to let you guys know. I'm not allowed to comment on certain things after 19 YouTube suspensions and kicked off of so many platforms. I can't really say nothing about anything. California's food insecurity rises as pandemic aid ends. Oh, so this is late 2023, December 2023, but this is kind of important because food insecurity in California has ticked upward over the past year, bringing the share of hardship back to levels as early COVID-19 pandemic, according to data released by the California Association Food Banks on Tuesday. So I did take a little gander and take a little look into 2019 California food. We have videos of people lining up for food banks in 2019 before they pulled the trigger on the pandemic. So they had to keep moving forward with this whole thing because they need it, right? They need this because you go back to 2019, there was no pandemic in 2019. But you see what's going on here. They got to use that as a crutch. And again, governments are trying to alleviate all accountability humanly possible. Arizona Restaurant Association says price of fast food in our state has gone up. And that's something we've been reporting about for a long time. Tucson, just like everything else, the cost of food has gone up in our state, and Arizona Restaurant Association confirms this uptick in prices. Arizona Restaurant Association President Steve said the entire industry is feeling the pressure. So food, you're seeing a lot of food insecurity where people that at one time would just pick up the fast food don't have to, buy the ingredients, make it at home, just pick up, drive through, have a meal, go home, have a meal, go to bed, have a meal, go to work. But now that's becoming severely out of reach. How long can we keep this up? Food banks are under pressure from Texas. High level of food insecurity. It's all you young whippersnappers down in Texas buying those $200,000 mansions down there. The $200,000 mansions you're buying down in Texas. That's you guys buying those 200. Come to Canada. You could buy a $700,000 crack shack out in a suburb $2 million crack shack in a big city in Canada. Wonder how that would work out if the Canadian pricing, Australian pricing, New Zealand pricing of housing went into parts of America. Well, there is with California and New York and Illinois and stuff like that. But I'm saying these people with the $200,000 mansions are complaining that they've spent too much money on their mansions with the pool. So there it is. So Texas is under pressure. Ohio families can get more food for their kids this summer thanks to a new federal program. So there's a new federal program because kids were being fed at schools. And this is a major issue because many students across Ohio rely on free lunches throughout the school year. When the school year ends, so does the access to daily free meals. And it's the first permanent federal nutrition benefit that's been introduced in more than 50 years. So they are going to start federalizing food programs now across America. Food pantries expect more visitors if Congress changes food stamp formula. So food stamp formula and 700 people a month, 700 people a month, but those numbers could increase if Congress limits funding on SNAP benefits. So that's EBT SNAP, right? Ohio House bill aims to help college students dealing with food insecurity. So the ramen noodles have gone up. The price of just your ramen noodles and toast have gone up. And college students are feeling it. Food insecurity on college and university campuses is an issue, though sometimes a well-hidden one. Then it goes into House Bill 590. The Hunger-Free Campus Act would establish that Hunger-Free Campus Grant Program with a $2.5 million appropriation to be used to give grants to colleges and universities that have established food pantry or want to open one. So they're federalizing food, and food federalization is going to become the norm. As more and more people can't afford to buy food, the government's going to step in and save the day, which they never do because they make everything worse. They should stop. Yeah, I'm going to go into... here we go. Northern Illinois Food Bank provides free meals to kids during summer break. Okay, that's another one there. Yeah, that's a different one there. And Jacksonville. Jacksonville area food pantries face shortages of food. And donations for Jacksonville's two major pantries are drying up and are both considering measures they may have to take, which include fewer hours of operation. So funding is drying up and food banks are running out of food. Local food bank gearing up for summer feeding program. It's in Georgia, in Savannah. Many children face food insecurity during the summer months, and Second Harvest of coastal Georgia is gearing up to help. Again, government, so they said they usually serve 160,000 meals during the summer with a goal of 175,000 this year. They said just finish packing 65,000 breakfast meals in preparation for June. So they're going to be federalizing more and more of the food. You're going to start to see more governments in federalization of food. We've been talking about the federalization of all the transport, federalization of all corporate and whatever entities, the federalization of food. We've been talking about the federalization of everything here on this channel for the last decade plus. Now, let's just jump in real quick on what if you want to go back and see more of our food related videos and what we've been talking about. It's really good. I got my daughter here. Give me 1 sec, okay, babe? And she'll be back. I'm signing off here real soon, guys. So food prices to increase 67% in 2022. People will be priced out of food by 2024. Food bank struggles with supply amid increased demand. Inflated costs. Groceries cost 12% more. And some Americans have been stealing food to survive. Basic food to be a luxury by 2024. It just keeps going. Middle class can't afford food. Food bank noticed increase of working poor and transportation issues, right? Going back many years now. Food is costing more than my rent. That's what the email referenced, that email that I got. I need to leave Vancouver, BC. Is food more than your rent? Do you know, do your own math and see. Food is skyrocketing. The price of food might be the next commodity. So there it is right there, 7 years and change ago. Food prices spiking in a city near you. They can't hide the inflation. It just keeps going on and on. Look, pensioners can't afford food as Biden inflation kicks in and the Marifornia becomes a reality 4 years ago. There's food haul videos that everybody's making. So many people making food haul videos today. We've been making them for years and everyone just laughed at us. And people will be priced out of food by 2023. Foodflation and fluflation set to take off. Okay. And insane. Food prices out of control. Australians set to starve. Food is now out of reach. And price of food out of control. Inflation kicking hard as Australia interest rates going up. It just one after another. Look, Mike in the Night. Federalization of food and distribution of middle class can't afford food 4 years ago. Food riots ahead. Oh my goodness. It's just non-stop. And the referencing, and I want to reference this video here. 5-year fixed mortgage rate in Canada falls to 1.99. It's a trap. Don't do it. That was 4 years ago. This move could make it harder for riskier borrowers who offer a down payment of less than 20%. So this is very important. Somebody referenced this video to me. Really appreciate that in the email. 5-year fixed mortgage rate in Canada falls to 1.99. It's a trap. They are grateful. They sent me an email and they sent me an e-transfer to say, Mike, I saw this video like 4.5 years ago when they were offering these interest rates to get first-time buyers or people in the property ladder. I listened to you for some reason. That's what he said. And I am grateful that I did not get in at 1.99 because he said he'd be renewing today or this year. He'd be renewing this year at crazy, crazy amounts of interest, and that would put his payment out of whack. And he explained that he would have no money left to buy food. So kind of wanted to tie this video in. It's up there. We've been here for years, folks, and really appreciate you guys coming out and checking us out here. And I'm going to go check on my daughter here. And guys, thanks so much for being part of the channel, liking and subscribing. I really appreciate the support. Now for food, guys, it's time. Start growing gardens. Start growing gardens on your balconies. Start using up space you don't use for indoor hydroponics. Whatever you could do. Food is not that hard to grow. There's a little bit of maintenance involved depending on how you set up yourself. But food can be grown. And local butcher shops. Start looking for local areas, local farmers markets, local flea markets, what you find farmers markets in, all kinds of cool stuff, guys. So get out there, start, gotta fix the government regulations and why we got here, and we know why we got here. So we're here now. So let's work together and fix this. Hopefully we can. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.